Namaste, welcome to Vinyasa Flow Yoga. Today's practice physically is going to be a hip opening, sacral energy center focus for those of you that are familiar with the chakras. And let's begin making sure you have two blocks like this and a strap, finding a way to turn out the thighs and external rotation, abduction, moving them away from the midline of the body in a comfortable seated position. If you find that you're sitting cross-legged and your knees are lifting uncomfortably away from the ground like this, then grab something that you can sit on, like two blocks side by side, and sit towards the front edge of that prop. Allow your pelvis to slightly tilt forward and then activate your lower belly, drawing it in and up so that you can sit tall. Then relax the whole body and start to make a conscious transition from whatever you were doing before now to your practice of yoga. Here's a very succinct quote by the poet and philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson. Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. And I intentionally quote that today because today's class format is Vinyasa Flow, and it's often translated to mean breath-led movements. And it really is about moving slowly and mindfully, really taking the time to tune into the breath so that the beginning of the movement is initiated by the beginning of the breath. For example, inhaling begins and then the arms start to follow the full length of the inhalation so that when you're finished with the inhale, the palms are at the peak of that pose. The exhale begins and then the arms start to follow. The full duration of the exhale, once you've emptied the breath completely, the arms are in the second posture. So not going before the breath with the body, but even slightly starting after the breath initiates. So really taking the time to connect with your breath and to notice how you're breathing as you're moving from pose to pose. Though it's movement, it's really meant to be a meditation through movement. And that means really slow, just like the pace of nature, taking your time to regulate the breath. So with that, start to sense what you are feeling in your body right now. Is it feeling full of energy, kind of restless? Is it feeling low on energy, kind of static, or maybe somewhere in between, and any other kinds of sensations? Notice the quality of the breath. No need to change the way you're breathing. And sense what your energy is right now. Tune into your mind. What has your mind been focusing on today, in the last hour, and just now? And how is that affecting the way you feel emotionally? So acknowledging and accepting what's present for you in these different layers of your being. Let's start to deepen the breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the lips. This time inhaling a little deeper. Hold at the very top of the breath for a few seconds and feel that fullness. And then just to slowly exhale to your lips, whispering it to the very end, and hold the breath out for a few seconds. Feel the contrast, that emptiness. And then try another 2 rounds of breathing just like that, maybe even slowing it down some more. Inviting your lungs to fully expand with each inhale, using your full lung capacity. And really taking the time to release any last bit of stagnant air from the lungs as you exhale. And now continue to breathe slowly and mindfully. You might join your hands in prayer at your heart as you connect to your heart and what brought you to your practice today, or what you're inviting in to your experience through yoga. Clarify an intention for your practice. And making an offering of our practice, I invite you to choose somebody that you'd like to dedicate this practice to today. Let's open the space, creating resonance together by chanting Om 3 times. Let's start to slow the breath down with the lips closed, creating a very gentle whispering sound using the breath regulation technique called Ujjayi breathing, victorious breath. So you make the sound by softly narrowing or gently constricting the back of your throat. Listen to that sound as you're sitting still and relaxed now. Inviting a very slow, mindful pace, taking your time to balance the length of the inhalation as slowly as the length of the exhalation. Now, when we start to move, you might notice that the rhythm changes. Maybe the breath becomes faster or shorter. Really try to notice that and slow your body down even more so that you can slow the breath down, or even pause, come down to sit or child's pose and rest as you might need, so that you are really tuning into the sound rhythm of the breath, which is helping you to know how you are exerting effort in your body, doing it in a mindful way that is not rushed, not forceful, but calm and relaxed and focused. So keep listening to that breathing. And let's make our way to stand at the very top of your mat. You may like to put your blocks in front of your mat like this, maybe on the tallest height, depending on how far down you can reach your hands when you come into a forward fold. So if the ground is too low to press your hands into, you can press your hands into the blocks. Step your feet apart, hips distance and parallel to each other, and join your hands together in prayer again at your heart, standing tall in mountain pose. Take a moment again to sense your intention, the energy of your intention for your practice. And we'll start with sun salutation, C, connecting movement to a slow rhythmic breath. Surya Namaskar C. So empty this breath. As you inhale, sweep your arms forward, roll your shoulders back and down, and gaze up towards the sun. As you exhale, hinge from your hips. Feel free to bend the knees if you feel any tightness in the back of the body. Plant your fingertips on the ground outside your heels, and inhale, step your left knee behind you into a kneeling lunge, gazing up. As you hold your breath, step into plank pose, top of a push-up. Exhale, slowly lower your knees, chest, then chin. Inhale, slide your belly forward to the ground, entering cobra pose. Ground the tops of your feet and coil your chest open. Exhale, tuck your toes and lift your hips back into downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot forward beside your left thumb. Lower your right knee and gaze up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and bow. Inhale, slowly rise, arms overhead in Urdhva Hastasana with a gentle back bend. Exhale, trace your palms in prayer from your crown to your heart center. One more Surya Namaskar C. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your fingertips down. Inhale, step your right knee back. Kneeling lunge, gaze up. As you hold your breath, step into plank. Exhale, lower knees, chest, chin, Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide forward to the ground in cobra, rooting the tops of your feet. Exhale, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, step right foot beside right thumb. Lower your left knee, look up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, saluting the sun with gratitude. Exhale, join your hands in prayer, saluting the source within. We're going to move into a variation of Sun Salutation A, which will include some hip opening postures with that external rotation. So tune into the breath. We'll continue one breath each posture. Inhale as you sweep your arms forward and look up. Exhale, bow from your hips in Uttanasana. Press down with your fingertips on blocks or the floor, and inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Ardha Uttanasana. Step back to plank, and this time, firming in the belly. Exhale, glide forward. Hug your elbows to your ribs in Chaturanga Dandasana. Either cobra or upward facing dog. Breathe in and coil the chest up. Exhale, lift your pelvis into downward facing dog. Bring your feet to touch. Inhale, raise the right leg behind you. As you exhale, bend your right knee and rotate the thigh externally at the hip. Now stay here and inhale, tack your left outer hip back. As you exhale, round forward in plank, bending your right knee towards your nose, and softly step the foot between your hands and the left heel down. Align right heel to arch of left foot. Inhale, windmill your arms right into Warrior Two, bending the front knee just over the heel. Keep that knee bent, and exhale to Peaceful Warrior. Spin the right palm to face up and side bend towards your rear wall, landing the left hand gently on the left leg. Exhale, cartwheel your hands to the floor and continue to lower into your vinyasa, maybe lifting the right leg as you come down if you want some extra core strengthening. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Feet together touching. Then inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, bend the knee, rotate the thigh externally. Stay here. Inhale, tack your right outer hip back. Exhale, round into plank. Bend the left knee high towards your nose and quietly step the left foot forward between the hands. Spin the right heel down, align heel to arch. Inhale, cartwheel the arms into Warrior Two. Keep the left knee bent, flip the left palm up, and exhale into Peaceful Warrior. Side bending towards your rear wall. Gently land right hand and right leg. Inhale, touch the ground with your hands in plank pose. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa, maybe lifting the left leg as you come down. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Exhale, downward facing. Feet hips distance, parallel. Let your body be still for 3 slowing down breaths. When you finish the third, walk or float your feet together at the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Rooting down, inhale, rise up. Exhale, join your hands in prayer at your heart. Let's continue the same sequence. Now you've gone through it once. You're more familiar of where we're going. Tune into the breath and now focus on really slow breaths that are leading your body. Not the body leading the breath, but the breath leading the body. Here we go. Inhale, sweep the arms up, coil your chest up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Step to plank. Exhale, lower forward and down. Inhale, raise the chest. Ground the tops of the feet. Exhale, raise the hips back. Feet touching. Inhale, raise the right leg behind you. Exhale, bend the knee, turn out the thigh. Use the whole breath length. Inhale, tack the left hip back. Exhale, round to plank, step the foot between the hands. Left heel down. Inhale, windmill the arms to warrior two. Full length of the breath. Exhale, flip the right palm up, peaceful warrior. Inhale, lower your hands, step to plank pose. Maybe raise the right leg. Exhale, continue down and finish your vinyasa. Downward facing dog with feet touching. Second side. Inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, bend the knee, turn out the thigh. Inhale, tack the right hip back. Exhale, knee to nose. Softly step the foot between your hands. No rush, take your time, slow and controlled. Right heel down. Inhale, cartwheel the arms to warrior two. Exhale, flip the left palm up, peaceful warrior. Inhale, lower your hands, step into plank, maybe lifting the left leg. Exhale down into your vinyasa. Keep going. Pause in downward dog, steadying your gaze for 3 rebalancing breaths. Slow down the breath. When you've emptied the third, walk or float to the front of your mat. Press with your hands. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Press with your feet. Inhale, rise up. Follow the length of the breath. Exhale, trace your palms in prayer to your heart. Same sequence, one more time. Maybe close the eyes at times. You can feel comfortable to. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, bow forward from the hips. Inhale, lengthen forward, halfway up. Step to plank, lower forward and down. Let the breath lead. Inhale, coil the chest up. Exhale, lift the hips back, feet touching. Inhale, raise the right leg. Exhale, bend the knee, rotate the thigh open. Inhale, tack the left hip back. Exhale, round forward. Step the foot between the hands. Left heel down. Inhale, rise slowly, warrior two. Exhale, side bend to peaceful warrior. Inhale, lower the hands, step to plank pose. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. All the way through to downward facing dog, feet touching. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, bend the knee, turn out the thigh. Inhale, tack the right hip back. Exhale, round to plank, step the foot between the hands. Right heel down, inhale, warrior two, take your time. Exhale, side bend to peaceful warrior. Inhale, lower to plank pose. Exhale, keep going down, vinyasa, all the way through. And as you pause for 3 breaths in stillness, downward facing dog, notice how your mind feels right now. When you've emptied the 3rd breath, walk or float to the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Root down, inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to the heart, Padasana. Pause a moment, breathe in slowly, find the slowest inhale all the way to the top of the breath without holding it. Take your time to release just as slowly all the way out. Find the very bottom when you feel emptied. Keep that pace. Bend your knees together to touch. Sit back towards the heels and chair. And then turn out the right thigh at the hip. Flex the right foot and cross the ankle over the left thigh. And continue to draw your hips evenly back and down to your degree. You can join your hands in prayer. Keep the arms overhead. You can plant the fingertips on blocks or the floor. Maybe wrap the top of the right foot around the left upper arm. Sense the quality of the breath as we stay in this position, exploring this hip opening for 3 more breaths. Notice what sensations are coming up or shifting for you. Now press through your standing foot, join your hands at your heart. Inhale, rise to stand. Turn out the right thigh and hug the foot inside of the left leg, tree pose. So you can have the toes on the floor as you're hugging the inner ankle or the inner calf or the inner thigh, just not pressing your inner knee. Press back into the sole of your right foot with your left leg and then press into the ground with all 4 corners of your left foot. Lift up through the inseam of the left leg, through the center of the spine. And if your balance feels pretty stable, you might raise the arms up, which can make it more challenging. You could close your eyes, you could look up, however you want to play with your balance. For about 4 more breaths here in Vrikshasana. Join your hands together again at your hearts. And then step the right foot to meet the left. Slowly inhale, take your time, feel the breath expand in your body. Without holding the breath, on your own, empty it just as slowly. Listen to the whisper as you close the lips. Bend your knees, sit low in chair pose, leaning back towards your heels. Turn out your left thigh, flex the foot, and cross the ankle over your right thigh. Sink the hips back and down, firming your belly in. You could keep your arms overhead, join your hands in prayer, or maybe reach for your blocks or the ground, wrapping the top of the left foot around the right upper arm. Sense if the breath rhythm is changing. Connect with the sound. Let the sound be a focal point for your mind to enter a meditation state. One more deep breath. Press to your standing foot, join your hands at your heart. Inhale, rise to stand and turn out the left thigh. Hug the sole of your left foot inside of your right leg, ankle, calf, or thigh. Press against that sole with your right leg and root into the ground firmly as you spread your right toes. Really try to use as much surface area on the bottom of your right foot to press the floor away and stand tall. Explore any variation of your arms or gaze you might have explored on the first side. For about 4 more slow breaths here in Vrikshasana, tree pose. Join your hands in prayer. Step your left foot to meet the right. Inhale, bend your left knee in front of you, flex the foot. Exhale, pass through Warrior 3 as you tilt your torso forward, extend the left leg back, square your hips for a few breaths, taking your time to step the left foot all the way to the rear of your mat. Spin the left heel down. When you do, align right heel to arch of left foot, and then open your arms for triangle pose. Glide your hips towards your rear wall, lengthen your torso forward, and place the right hand on the right side of your right leg. Use a block under your hand if the ground feels too low and you're collapsing into your right side. Try to lighten the weight of your right hand, firm in the sides of your waist. Spiral your chest slightly to face the sky, draw the shoulders away from the neck, and then steady your gaze for another 4 or 5 breaths, Trikonasana. Gaze down at your right foot, lower your hands to frame it, and set the left knee down. Step the right foot to the right until your legs are hips width apart, and then use your right hand to cup the top of your right thigh down. Lengthen the spine forward, breathe in, and then exhale to twist to the right, kneeling lunge twist, or it's a variation of Parita Parshvakonasana. You can stay here or go a little deeper, hooking the left elbow outside of your right thigh, joining your hands in prayer, opening the arms apart, or binding. You could also choose to lift your left knee, tuck the left toes, coming into a high lunge. Be mindful to not twist at your pelvis. Imagine you're scissoring your legs to keep your hips balanced in height. 5 more breaths here. Now look at your right foot. Lower your hands on the inside of that foot. Set the back knee down again and step your right foot to the right another 5 or so inches, coming into lizard lunge. Now feel free to place your hands on blocks. If placing them on the floor causes congestion in the neck and shoulders. You want to have free open space in the neck and chest. Scoot your left knee back an inch or so that as you're bending it like this and you're leaning your torso forward, your weight is on your left thigh. You're not digging the kneecap into the floor. Now stay here or backstroke the right arm to reach hold of your left foot and gently bring it towards your glute, thus stretching into the front of your left hip, the area of the hip flexor, and even down into the thigh or quadricep. Now, if it feels comfortable in your body to go further in that stretch, you can lower the left forearm down. Now decide if you want to keep your right knee hugging close to your right shoulder, right foot flat on the floor, or get a little more opening in the IT band on your outer right thigh, in which you would flex your right foot to stabilize the knee while splaying the right thigh open just to lean the knife outer edge of the foot on the ground. Gently draw the right outer hip back, lengthen your torso towards the front of your mat, and relax the shoulders both away from your neck. Tune into about 5 more deep breaths. Noticing what you're feeling in your body right now without judging it, just being in the aliveness of your body as you sense the breath coming and going. Just like a wise 100-year-old tree stays rooted in the same ground, watching all of life coming and going around it. Building this wisdom of awareness. Gently release the back foot if you're holding it. Come back to hands on the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Pause there, 3 breaths. Then walk or jump your feet to the front of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips, point the elbows up. Inhale, lead with your chest to slowly rise up. Then join your hands in prayer and flex the right foot. As you inhale, bend the right knee in front of you. Engage the belly and keep the hips squared forward as you tilt forward into Warrior 3. Giving yourself several breaths to pass through as you land the right foot at the rear of your mat. When you do, spin the right heel down, align left heel to arch of right foot, and open your arms for triangle pose. Glide your hips towards the back wall, lengthen your torso towards the front, and place the left hand on the left side of your left leg. Feel free to use a block. Lighten the weight of your left hand and spin your chest slightly to face the sky. Send the shoulders down your back as you steady your gaze. Another 4 to 5 breaths in Trikonasana. Look at your left foot and lower your hands to frame it. Set the right knee down and step the left foot to the left until your legs are hips width apart, preparing for a kneeling lunge twist. Use your left hand to cup the top of the left thigh down and inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Without turning the legs, exhale, twist to the left, raise the left arm up. You could stay here or hook the right elbow outside of your left thigh, especially if you did so on the first side. Try to create balance in variations. You might tuck the back toes and lift the back knee, making sure to level your hips and hug them towards your midline. So you're not twisting at the pelvis, you're twisting at the waist. Send the shoulders down the back and keep twisting for another 4 or 5 breaths. Twisting, side angle pose, variation. Look at your left foot Lower your hands to the right side of it and lower the right knee. Step your left another 5 or so inches to the left for your lizard lunge. Feel free to use your blocks under your hands if that gives you more space in the neck. Scoot the right knee back another inch or so and tilt your torso forward as you bend your right knee. If reachable, backstroke your left arm to catch hold of the right foot and gently bring it towards you. You might come down to your right forearm if that's available. Now, try to practice the same version as you did on the first side. If you went for the IT band, stretch, flex your left foot here and splay the left thigh open, just leaning on the outer edge of the foot, not the ankle. And draw your left outer hip back. Keep lengthening your torso forward, relaxing the shoulders away from the neck. Now, steady your gaze and tune into about 5 more deep breaths. Notice the length of the in and out breaths, slowing them down. Start to lower onto all fours, hands and knees. Tune into 3 rounds of cat-cow. Breathe in, glide your torso forward and coil your chest up. Breathe out, contract your belly, drop the head and round. Keep going 2 more cycles on your own. Now, take your choice of 1 round of an active inversion. Downward facing dog, dolphin pose, which I'll do with you, or headstand, handstand, if that's a normal part of your practice, and headstand only if you have no neck issues. You might even bring your mat up against the wall if you want to do that. So for dolphin, extend your arms forward. So take it on your own if it's not dolphin, for 5 to 10 breaths, and then come down into child's pose, making sure when you come out of the inversion, you don't lift your head up right away. You want to keep your head low and stay close to the ground. So dolphin pose, extend your arms forward, palms face down, and then spin your triceps downward. Bend your elbows and interlace your fingers. Press your elbows, outer wrists into the floor so your elbows are shoulders width apart. Draw the shoulder blades down the back and let your head hang freely without putting any weight on your head. Tuck your toes, engage the belly in, and lift the hips up. Press your chest towards your shins, keeping your shoulders slightly behind your elbows. If it's available, walk your feet closer to your elbows and firm the fronts of your thighs back like you would in downward dog. Engage the belly in. Lengthen the neck by lifting the shoulders up away from it. So on your own, count 5 to 10 breaths. If you want to add on to this, you can step the feet together and raise one leg straight up as you flex the foot and square the hips, and then switch legs. We'll meet in child's pose when you're ready. Resting your arms wherever it's comfortable for at least 3 breaths in Balasana. And then roll your spine upright, and let's prepare to practice our last few back bends, starting with 2 rounds of camel pose, Ustrasana. You might fold your mat thicker to stand your knees on, or put a blanket under the knees if you need more cushion. Grab a block, and at least for the first camel, I invite you to use a block hugging the skinniest width of it between your knees and thighs so that your outer hips are firming towards your midline, supporting the lower spine. Tuck your toes behind you and backstroke your arms, placing your hands on your lower back. Press your hips forward with your hands gently so that your pelvis stays right above the knees the whole pose. Not like this, moving behind the knees. Keep the pelvis forward. Also, actively lengthen your tailbone downward to prevent this, which is overarch of the lower back, right? So tailbone down, spiral the inner thighs slightly towards the wall behind you. Keep the pelvis forward, and now lift the back ribs. You're actively stretching your lower spine. Picture the area right under your shoulder blades is where you're going to tilt the chest up from. So hug the elbows closer together to open up the chest. Breathe in, lift the chest. Exhale, roll the shoulder bones back. From right under the shoulder blades, lift the heart. Now you're in camel pose. Stay for 5 or more deep breaths before you come to sit. Now, if it's available, you can drop one hand to hold a heel that's right beneath it. Switch hands, switch heels, or hold both heels just as long as you don't feel any impingement in the lower back. Your pelvis stays right above the knees, and you're arching mostly from right under the shoulder blades. When you're ready to come out, place your hands on your lower back to support lifting your spine. And then you could use that block as a stool between the ankles to sit on in hero's pose. Find a comfortable way to sit. Maybe rest the hands at your heart center. And just notice how you feel energetically for 3 breaths. Take your last round of camel pose with or without the block. It offers lower back support if you want that. With toes tucked, or go further, untuck the toes. 5 to 10 breaths on your own. We'll meet sitting down. And when you've rested for at least 3 breaths, come on down to your back to prepare for your choice of bridge pose or upward facing bow. With or without a block between your thighs, have your feet about hips distance apart and parallel to each other, where you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, arms by your sides. For bridge, press down through feet and shoulders and lift the hips. Walk the upper arms underneath, maybe clasp the hands. For upward bow, only if you normally practice it, hands alongside the ears. Make sure not to splay the elbows apart. Keep the arms parallel to each other. So take your last back bend for 5 to 10 deep breaths. If your hip flexors feel pretty open in upward bow, you might straighten the legs. When you've come out, I invite you to drop your knees apart and bring the soles of your feet together in supine bound angle pose. Maybe resting a hand on your heart center and a hand on your lower belly at your sacral energy center. Long, balanced breaths through the nose again. Now we're going to practice, actually let's get into our spinal twist first. So bring your hands to your outer thighs, wrap the right leg over the left like eagle pose, slide your hips towards the right edge of your mat, and open the right arm out to the right on the floor. Keep grounding the right shoulder, lift your feet, and begin to drop your knees to your left side. Just the amount that you can keep the right shoulder on the ground. Maybe turn your gaze past it. You could also help deepen the release in your lower back by using the left palm to gently press away your right outer hip. About 4 more breaths here. Start to unravel onto your back, uncross the legs, bring your pelvis to the midline of your mat. And then wrap the left leg over the right. Slide your hips towards the left edge of the mat and open the left arm on the floor. Ground the left shoulder, lift your feet, and begin to drop your knees to the right. You might add pressing the left outer hip away with your right hand. One more deep breath here. And then roll onto your back again now. I invite you to choose your last external rotation of the thighs, hip opener. You can stay on your back and come into supine frog, where you bend your knees at right angles, flex the feet, and splay the thighs open, different from happy baby. And you can rest your arms on your inner thighs, or take the upright version of frog pose, in which you splay the knees open, make sure that your knees and toes are turned out the same direction, and you're bending your knees at 90 degrees. Pelvis is in line with the knees as you breathe here. So take your choice. Going to be here for 1.5 minutes, starting now. If you're in the upright frog pose like I'm in, slightly engage your lower abdomen so you're not dumping the belly towards the floor. Instead, you're supporting your lower back. Make sure your pelvis is neither in front of the knees or behind the knees, but it is in line with the knees. And just like our quote from the beginning, frog pose, at least for me, is a practice of adopting the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. Use your breath as a powerful tool for practicing patience. Letting go of expectation and being in the moment by moment in the present. Last 3 breaths here. Start to make your way into child's pose if you are an upright. Frog pose, bring the feet together, sit back on your heels, bowing down. And if you're on your back, draw your knees together, bend towards your chest. You might rock a little. Take your time rising to sit. Extending your legs in front of you for seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. You might choose to use a strap around the balls of your feet, giving yourself enough slack to be able to sit tall while relaxing the shoulders down. Keep a slight lift in your chest as you firm the belly in and sit taller as you breathe in. Hinge forward from your hips as you breathe out, little by little. Now, if you can reach without rounding the back, clasp your big toes with your peace fingers. 4 more breaths. Press to your pelvis, breathe in, and slowly rise from the heart center, coming up. Find a way to sit for a brief box breathing practice, cooling pranayama to help us relax for shavasana and meditation. You might sit cross-legged, or if your knees are free of injury, come into full lotus or half lotus. And you might bring the thumb and first fingers to touch. Close the eyes or steady a soft gaze, downcast. Now continue to breathe with the lips closed, so just through the nose. I'll count to 4 as we inhale. We'll hold the breath in for a count of 4, and I'll count to 4 as we exhale. We'll hold the breath out for a count of 4. That's 1 cycle. Let's prepare to practice 3 cycles together and 2 cycles on your own before relaxing the breath. Prepare to begin by emptying this breath. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one together. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep going. 2 more cycles on your own. When you are ready to let go of controlling the breath, be still and observe how you're feeling now. And then begin to lower your body to the floor entirely, finding a comfortable way to lie down, setting up for a few minutes in stillness for Shavasana. Eyes closed, breath flowing naturally, gifting yourself your loving presence. As you continue to rest in Shavasana, bring your awareness back to your physical body, noticing how it's responding to your yoga practice. Take your time to begin waking up your body, Start with small, gentle movements, like turning the head softly, rubbing your thumbs across your fingertips. Ease into simple stretches, moving very slowly. Turn over onto your right side and rest your head for a moment, sensing the breath in its natural flow. Notice how you feel energetically. Sense the effects of your practice on your energy. And then begin to lift your body up, finding a comfortable way to sit for 5 minutes in meditation. Sit in a way that you feel grounded, tall and alert, open, especially in the heart space, and relaxed. You might bring the thumbs and first fingers to touch in Gyan Mudra, palms face up, a way to invite deeper states of focus into meditation. Let's begin. Close your eyes or rest a steady, gentle, downcast gaze. With the body still, feel the subtle movement of the natural breath. Let your awareness rest on the breath. Let all other sounds and stimuli feel more and more distant as the breath is more in your focus. Let it be natural and easy to steady your gentle awareness on the breath, not trying to force or resist anything. As your body remains still and the eyes still closed, if they are, gently expand your awareness from inward to outer, back to the body and feeling the space around the body. Notice how you feel now mentally and emotionally. You might join your hands at your heart again as you recall something that you appreciate in this moment. Gratitude to yourself for showing up and for your commitment to your highest well-being. Gratitude to the many teachers before us who shared yoga, making it possible for us to practice it today. Now remember what your intention was. And remember to whom you dedicated today's practice. And together, let's close chanting Om 3 times. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.